Yeah, this is very interesting. Now, the things I'm just curious. So, what is the source of this repressing or suppressing dark emotion? Like, what is causing a person to experience this repressed emotion?
It's because we all walked away from love.
And what causes us to walk away from love? It's like it's as if you have people out there you have some people out there who are being like brainwashed, mind controlled, and conditioned by their environment. And you have to ask yourself, who's the one that sort of like spiritually generate, if not manipulate and create a system of worldliness where you will have people like that who will be living in a repressed emotion. So
the truth is we're all living with repressed emotion at the moment. Every single one of us in this room. So we can judge these people who have really dark amounts of repressed emotion within them. But the truth is a lot of us have just as much repressed emotion. We're just not acting on it. And the reason
Can I explain though the actual original cause?
Yeah.
The original cause. There was a time when there was a first human couple, by the way, and that's something we didn't discuss yesterday. Their names were Ammon and Aman, and you can speak with them in the spirit world when you pass. They are in the spirit world. And what had happened was right at the beginning, God gave them this gift of free will, just like we have the gift of free will. But what they decided to do was they decided that they would be better off becoming gods. In other words, instead of actually being God's child, which is how God created us to be, her children, they decided that they were going to be gods in their own right, not needing God at all in their life. So they made this big decision. They made it together. They made this big decision to deny any assistance from God. And what they actually did, and when you speak with them about it, they'll explain some of the emotions that rose in them. They were in a perfected natural love state, but they decided that they wanted to be God. They decided they could be God themselves. In other words, they could have their own universe. They could have their own rules. They decided all these different things. And it was a huge decision that they made. Now, as a result of that, and by the way, many of us make this decision every single day of our lives when you think about it, right? Many of us right now still make the same decision. Anyway, they made this decision to be, I suppose you could say, the rulers of their own universe, to be completely self-reliant. And so they started walking away from God. And the problem with walking away from God is we automatically start detuning from God's love. And as soon as we start detuning from love, emotions start arising within us that are disharmonious with love. And as soon as that starts occurring, then we do more things disharmonious with love. So it all comes from the fact that we were given this free will choice. We have the free will choice to do anything we wish. Now, a lot of people then say, well, then God made a mistake. God shouldn't have given us free will. But my feelings are, no, we made the mistake by using our free will in a manner disharmonious with love. Now, I think personally that the gift of free will is one of the most powerful gifts God has given us. And in fact, the whole point of individualisation is to actually use our free will and learn how to use our free will in a way that uplifts ourselves and everyone else around us. One of the most damaging ways to use our free will is to try to damage myself or damage anyone around me. And when we do those things, we walk away from God, we walk away from love, we walk away from truth, and the only course of action from walking away from God, love and truth is a degradation of our own condition. So what happened is man started in a six-sphere state and they degraded in their condition so much that what you know as some of these like skeletal sort of men from history, that they've now found skeletons of only being this high and in a very, very poor state, that all came about through this degradation of their emotional and soul condition. And then, so man went through this process of a devolution, a devolution, instead of an evolution, where they, instead of evolving into more powerful beings, they devolved into these animal-like creatures in the end, where their primary motivations were food, sex, and that's about it. Like in terms of what they did in their entire life. Many of them lived until they were 20 or less years of age and died. Because they were old, like you know how we have an old age person now, 70, 80, 90, maybe 100 years of age. Back then, an old person was 20 in this devolved state. And then man, because the spirits all passed and started working through their emotions, man started to have positive influences coming from the spirit world. Now that they have positive influences, they started understanding a little bit more of love and understanding a little bit more of these laws of free will and how they're damaging others. And so slowly man started to evolve again, to grow out of this really dark and dingy condition and rise out of that condition back into being what we see today, which, by the way, what we are today is still not what we could be. The truth is, today, every single person in this room could look 25, right? No matter how old you are. Right? That's the truth. If we had dealt with lots of the emotions and were in our fully evolved condition. But we're not yet in our fully evolved condition, but we're nowhere near what we were about 100,000 years ago or so, or even 50,000 years ago, in this terribly devolved, damaged condition. But the whole reason why that whole such scenario occurred was because we decided to walk away from love. We made the choice to do it. And when you think about it today, many of us still make the same choice. And we make it for lots of different reasons. A lot of times it's because we think our emotions, we don't own our own emotions, as Mayor is saying, they're all blocked there within us, and that causes pain. And then we, instead of feeling our emotional pain and working right through that, I want to create pain in you as well as me. And as soon as I go into that state, I personally am devolving. I am going backwards again in my own progression through the exercise of my free will. Does that make sense?